I am with Katie Foster today, and Katie has been on a self-love and healing journey since she started her business. And right now, she has been creating some amazing healing videos and on an even deeper self-love experience. Um, so I just wanted to bring Katie on and have her share about her journey in her business, how it got started. One thing, I have worked with Katie on a website design, so we have done her branding work. We have dug into her message, and something that Katie was really struggling with was being like all over the place with lots of ideas. And she had kind of this fear of limiting herself. She's very creative. She wants the freedom of creativity in her business. And a lot of the like niching conversations that you typically hear are not a good fit for Katie because Katie feels like that's going to limit her for what she can do. And she really is in this phase where she wants the flexibility. And this is a journey of finding herself. It's not just building the business, it's also finding herself, which I know like you've heard me talk about before. And the healing experience of growing our business as well. It's so much more than just a business for so many of us. And Katie is such a beautiful example of that. So I wanted to bring her on and just have her share with us her story and her truth and kind of what's all unfolded for her since she has found her niche in the most beautiful and flexible way that totally fits the future wherever it takes Katie. So, Katie, is there anything you want to add to my intro, or are you good with that?
That was like a perfect intro. It was like covered all of it. I'm like, yep.
Okay. So you want to share with us just how you started your business? I know it started in creating YouTube videos, and you were kind of led down that path as a mom. So I didn't know if you wanted to like share that experience with everybody of what just led you to kind of getting started.
Yeah, I could do a little quick rundown of that. So back in, gosh, now I have to remember the year, 2016? I don't know. It was a 5 or 6 years ago. Now, my son, when he was about 7 months old, developed some skin issues. What the doctors were saying was just really bad eczema, but it got to a point where, the mom gut was kicking in and it was just like, something's just not right. And I need to figure some things out. And right along that time, I got introduced to essential oils and I got into this team with Young Living. I'll just say, because they're, if you know anything about, it's like an MLM. And so you get into a team type of situation. And I was encouraged to make an essential oils video as part of our group. And I was given, I think it was actually Stress Away was my first oil, or it was one of them. I was given a group and asked to make a video. And now at that point I was like, I didn't even want to be in pictures. I was the one hiding, put me in the back row, and then I'm short. So then you always get put in the front when you're short in a group picture. But I did it. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I was encouraged and I got really good feedback from it, not only from my team, but I saw myself differently. And it was like a boost of confidence, like, hey, I can actually do some things that I never thought I could do. And until I was kind of like nudged a little bit to do it, and something that I was super passionate about, because by the way, the oils completely helped my son's skin. So I was on board with them right away and thought, oh my gosh, why do I not want to share this with other people? Because it made such a huge positive impact on us. And so that was kind of the driving force there to get on a video. So of course, at that time, I didn't realize how making those first videos were going to jumpstart this kind of learning about myself and this like, self-love thing going on, because I struggled before that with body image and overall confidence with myself, and making those first videos were just huge. Now that I look back, that was just really what started this personal growth that I had within. And I didn't know I had until I actually saw it with my own eyes, right? Because I'm seeing like what other people are seeing me as. And, in the beginning, it's a little uncomfortable, but then you're like, well, wait, this is me. And so it kind of started this snowball in the best way possible to kind of where I'm getting to now.
And I love Katie's story. But also what I love is like, I know we've talked, and I think part of it for you too was like that community, right? Like when you were brave enough to put yourself out there and show up like in some vulnerable conversations, because Katie was kind of getting heat from like doctors or other people in her life of like, here's how you're supposed to handle this situation, right? And she kept following her gut, kept following her gut. And when she showed up and was like sharing that, like you had a community of people that were like, I'm struggling with this too. Like, thank you for this video. And I know like that also was very supportive where you realized like, oh, like I have a role to play here, right? Like I make a difference. Like, and I know it's something you always say, you know, like you can do it, right? Like you can believe in yourself and you matter and you can make a difference, which I think is so beautiful. So Katie's journey definitely began from a place of looking for solutions or answers to her own struggles. And I know she started it with the heart of wanting to help others like her, which like so many of us can start our business in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So like what was one of the hardest parts, I guess, once you got started and you're like, okay, I'm into oils. And then I know like your mind started like, what else can I do?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yep.
became like the greatest challenge for you then in business building? Because at one point you were like, I'm in business mode now, which opened up a lot of ideas and I know a new set of challenges for you besides just showing up.
Right. Yeah. So when I first got going and I realized, okay, I want to do something, I want to start my own, whatever it is, even if I didn't know what it was going to be, the biggest struggle I had was figuring out how does it all come together? Because like you said, so it started with oils but you know, once I got going, it was like, oh, this is cool and this is cool. And part of my personality is waking up every morning and being excited about something. And I can tend to be more on the spontaneous side, but in business building, like you had mentioned when you were giving me that wonderful intro, is the niching down thing was something that I just struggled with because I couldn't, I mean, I started with oils, but it quickly started being, not being,
You fell in love with the like content creation too, though, right? Like the
yes,
storytelling, like so many topics started coming up that you wanted to share about.
right, because then the confidence started building, like, wait, I can share about this, and why wouldn't I want to talk about this? Because this helped me. And so it started spilling over into other things. And so I struggled with the experts online saying, you need to niche down, you have to pick one thing, and it's got to be very specific. And if you don't do that, then just forget about it. And I would be like, okay. So then I would try, you know, I'd plan out. We had talked before, you're so good at planning things. And I always say, okay, I need to plan, you know, your first, when we met each other through your first course, and it was like, hey, you got to plan your content. And I'd have a week's stuff worth planned out. And that day would come and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to post that today. And my heart wasn't in it. I wanted to talk about something else. So I kept wanting to go where the fire was, really internally. And so that was the struggle, was, but wait, now I want to talk about this, and like it's on my brain. So if I don't say it, it's just gonna, you know, it's gonna burn a hole in my head. Like I need to talk about this. So that was the huge struggle in the beginning, was I didn't, at the time, did not have a website. So I didn't have this like umbrella, which we know now, like getting underneath this umbrella where everything just fits nicely. And I didn't have that. And so the niching down for me was just the biggest struggle right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. And Katie was one of my first clients in a group coaching program. I shouldn't say first, but first time I ran that group coaching program. And from working with people like Katie, I have learned so much as well. And the second time we worked together was on her website. And between those time periods, it's probably like a year time, I have come across working with so many different types of entrepreneurs that I'm able to value now, like not every person is going to fit into a specific plan, right? And that's partially what I've learned is like the soul story, like that soul story and that sole reason that you're in business, like that is what drives every single entrepreneur. That is what drives them. And you can't lie to yourself about it. You cannot lie. Like if you're not showing up with in alignment with what you really want to do and the work you really want to do, you just won't show up. Like you can't lie about it.
That's
And
exactly it.
yeah. And so in seeing Katie's struggles the first time around, I know we made some progress, but by the time the second time was around, like I'm experienced with different, entrepreneurs, and I have my system in place now where I was like, okay, like I am ready to help you create that umbrella. And this is why I've like fallen in love with like my soulful method, because it works every single time for no matter what situation you're in. And for Katie, when she talks about that umbrella, I'm so happy that you you did the umbrella. I
Yeah.
always refer to it as we have to find your umbrella that everything fits underneath. And when we met for her website, it was I want to blog, I want to do YouTube videos on any topics I want, so a lifestyle aspect. And then she also had a new thing of wanting to do video editing as well. So we kind of faced this challenge of how can we create an umbrella where we can talk about anything we want? Oh, and the oils.
And the oils. Yep.
Yep. And have that oil aspect, the lifestyle blogging aspect, and the video editing. And so I'll let you share about like, what we came up with our
Amazingness. Yeah. So then it also, right, had the tweaks of like the branding stuff, because that was part of the niching down. It's like, oh, you can't niche down. You have to have that to have your brand to come together. And so that was all kind of in one. And so we kind of refined that, I think a couple times, but by the time we got to my website, refining, okay, what do I want this to look like? What do I want it to feel like? And so, yeah, on my website now, I have, the menu options, but I have everything makes sense. You go on my website and it's like the first thing, which is the main thing. And what got me started was, basically healing, behind the lens of the camera. And so that healing involves my confidence to do the video editing, like to get into something professionally that I never thought I could do. But then it also covers doing obviously the YouTube videos, or getting into now plus size modeling and things that I'm doing too. And it was just really cool to start that first page. There we go. It's so, every time I see it, I'm like so happy, because I remember looking at it right when you first were like, here, how I'm like, that is so it. It's healing mind, body, and soul through the lens of the camera. So everything I found in the beginning, that everything I was doing was based around video. And so a lot of my stuff is video based, whether it's doing the video editing services or whether I'm in videos, or, and then turning them into blog posts and doing that whole thing. It was really cool how you brought it all together in a way that, the colors, all of it just totally is me and makes sense. And I didn't have that feeling before this all happened.
Yeah. And I think that was like the key thing that okay, so this is where journey comes in. And like, as I'm doing this challenge, this rebranding event, we're like coming off the back of this rebranding event where we've just talked about like that story for why we got started. Katie's story for why she got started was her son, but then that led her to the video, and the video thing is what unfolded like all these different things for her. And like, that's where she really was like, this is the power in it. Like, I get to show up and make a difference. I get to connect with people. I get to create community. Like, my voice matters. Like, that's like the best feeling for so many of us to realize, like, oh my gosh, the gifts that I have to share with people, they matter. They make a difference in the lives of others. And so it was like, I'm like getting goosebumps because it's so cool how that came together, in your brand. And we were able to create that umbrella where seriously, everything is under that umbrella. Like the video editing slides right. Like that's her passion, and that's how she expresses her passion. And if you don't follow Katie, I'll put with this video some places you can follow Katie, because she creates like the most beautiful, like just these clips, like TikTok videos, but also I think you put them into reels too.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm still learning that, but yes.
Yeah, but they're just like lately they've been like, and she's always like kind of evolving. Like you were along in her healing journey, like throughout it. You really are. Um, but like right now, her theme has been these different, like, sharing more behind the scenes of her healing journey. And it is so cool to see it all come together. And I don't know, like, if our work together is kind of what gave you like the confidence or to start showing more of that. But like, she's shining, I'm just gonna say.
Oh, I just wanted to interject right there and say absolutely 1,000,000,000%. This, our relationship, our working relationship, our friendship, I just feel like all of you are so inspirational for me, just in your own journey too. But the way you brought it all together, if I didn't have that, the branding and the website part come together, because in my head, that's what made it all make sense. Where before I was like, I was kind of doing things, but I didn't have that full confidence because it still didn't come together in my head because I had those other things going. You're not niching down. Oh, you're breaking the rules. You're going off into your own world. And I'm like, I know, but that's kind of what I want to do. But I also want it to make sense and not feel like the viewer or the people I'm connecting to are going, okay, wait a second. I have no idea what she's doing. And I kind of just, she's really confusing. I don't feel like it is that now. It might have been that before, but I feel now like it just makes sense because it's all under this lifestyle thing. And I absolutely started recording and doing more of the behind the scenes because I thought, I know there's other people out here that are having these thoughts, that are having these same struggles. And that's what I want to do is share it because I also want to connect with those people and be like, hey, you're not alone. I'm totally, I get it, so definitely that without a doubt.
Yeah, and I like, you're not alone in that either. Like, I regularly see where when we don't know our niche or exactly what we do with confidence, what can happen is you have that underlying guilt because you feel like, well, but like, what if I'm doing this wrong? Or what if I'm not showing up right? Or what if this isn't the thing I'm supposed to be? Like, I don't know. There's just that, like you said, like that running story in the background. And I see this time and time again. As soon as we can like filter out all the what you don't do and get to exactly what you do and how you do it, like, I've seen client after client just like step further into their work and in a very powerful way. And each one is different. Every single one is different of what their powerful way is or what their gift is. And Katie's is a very special one because Katie truly does this to help other people. And like one of the most like, I know most entrepreneurs do, but like she just does it in the most like genuine and authentic and beautiful way. And I don't know if it's because of her skill with the camera, but if you watch her videos, it's like she's got the little like bloopers or like you get to like really get to know Katie. And it's so wonderful because so many people don't share themselves like that. And it's so easy for people to connect to Katie.
I was just going to say it's very intimidating in the beginning because, yeah, you feel, especially if you start getting off into, okay, what are the experts? What are the people that are successful telling me I have to do? And you get sucked into this vortex of they say, it's like they say, and like they say. But if that doesn't work, because truthfully, that's what works for them, they can give you suggestions, but at the end of the day, it has to be what lights you up, and people know if you're sharing in an authentic way. They just do. And when you don't, they're going to know, they're going to say that's not really her and it's going to feel just not genuine. And so finding whatever it is, even if it breaks all the rules, it's kind of actually a good thing in a way to break all the rules because you're doing it in your way and you are you, they are them. If that works for them, great. But yeah, so really finding what lights you up, that's kind of, if you don't know and you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be out there and you're like, but I don't really know what I would talk about. I mean, everybody has gifts and talents. Everybody, I don't care who you are. If you want to be out there, there's something that you have to share with the world that you just have to find that. What is it that lights you up? So yeah, definitely.
That's something that I love about like the small business community in general and entrepreneurs is like we know that for a fact. Like once you have stepped into this place yourself and you step further into your truth, the more you see your gifts, the more potential you see in all the people around you, which is like another beautiful, that's like a whole other conversation.
That's
Like
so
that's
amazing. You do. Yeah. And that some people I want to just be like, don't you see this? Because I see it.
right.
But then I'm like, well, wait, I remember being in that place too, where it's like, I don't know what you're looking at. That's not what I see. But yes, you're totally right.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to share kind of how things have evolved for you since we got clear on the healing through the lens? Like I know you've started doing the plus size clothing as
Mhm.
well as the healing videos. And I know you've done a little bit of video editing.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Well, obviously, along the way, since I've been doing my own videos, I had to figure out how to do video editing. So, but I just found that I really liked it, that tech part. Sometimes people get lost in the tech and they're like, I'm not making videos because I don't know how to edit and everything else. I kind of found like, hey, I can, when I have a few minutes with my kid, but I can sit down and get lost in it, for long times, where other people are just like, I don't know how you do that long, but it just became something that I had to figure out. And then I ended up kind of liking it, especially on the YouTube platform. I just liked doing the editing of the YouTube videos and adding music and, like you said, maybe throwing bloopers in there. I just kind of had fun with that. So, yeah, wait, what was the question again? I'm gonna edit that out.
I don't know, just
I was going on about video editing. Oh,
I
you
like
said
that. No,
maybe we
yeah,
should
just
just keep all this in there, like, hey, this is actually what happens in a video,
yeah, we
in
should.
an interview.
This is
Oh my
sick.
gosh.
Don't edit
Okay.
this out. I'm sending this video to Katie to edit because she does amazing video editing work. So
I get
she's not
lost
allowed
in
to
another.
edit
Yeah. Okay. No, but oh, I know what I was gonna say. So yeah, like I also got into TikTok. You kind of mentioned that, but it was like anything video related. And I never would have saw myself on TikTok, even just last year, because it was like the teeny bopper. It's actually not. I found a really supportive community on there and it's kind of neat. And but it was sometimes when you're making YouTube videos, it's pretty involved. When you're making a TikTok video, it can be more the daily blips because they're short, and they don't need a whole lot of editing. So it was kind of fun to kind of transition over there. And I mean, I'm going back and forth between the two, but anything video related, I feel like that's my wheelhouse. So like, why would I not want to be there? But I never would have ventured into all this without this clarity of what am I doing and how does it all fit together? And
exactly.
obviously, yeah. So
That's what I was looking for with that question. Was just making sure, was just making sure we could, because I want people to walk away with understanding that, like, once you know your thing, so much expands for you because all of a sudden and confidently, because you're like, this isn't off topic. This is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Like everything you're drawn to, it's like, that's what I'm supposed to be drawn to. There's no longer a like, well, maybe I shouldn't make that type of video because like, is it really going to promote my oils or is it really going to like at this point, it's like, who cares? Because my thing is healing through the lens and everything is supporting that. And so you don't have to worry about being confusing, like you said, or confusing your audience or people judging you because they know exactly what you stand for.
exactly. Everything that I talk about, no matter what the subject is, it's still me, my personality, and my spin on it, if you want to say it that way. Like I could be talking about things a whole bunch of people are talking about, and trust me, I got that thrown at me a bazillion times. Oh, there's so many people that do oil. So it's like, but nobody's gonna say it like I'm gonna say it. Nobody has my exact experience. So that's fine. A bazillion people can do oils, but that doesn't mean I can't do it too. There's like no right or wrong. Once you find your voice, what it sounds like, and what you want to put out there, it's you can talk about whatever you want. That's what brought it all together for me. It was just knowing like, hey, I can actually do that. Like just because Susie from expert whatever she is on making videos says I need to niche down doesn't mean that that's what I have to do, right? I have to do what's best for me. And so yeah, that umbrella was everything.
Yeah. And seeing that connection for all my clients, but you as well. I'm like, I like just talking to like the individual, but then I'm like, also though, like you're like, it's like on a wide scale. Like this isn't just a like, just Katie has this experience. So many of my
No.
clients have this experience where it's like, can you hear the level of confidence in Katie when she's like, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing anymore because I know exactly who I am. That is freaking life changing because
Yes.
you don't understand how much exhaustion or how much time and exhaustion goes into just wondering who you are or what you do or what, if you should do that or if you shouldn't do this, and like how empowering it is and how momentum pushing it is when you're like, I know exactly what I do and I really don't give a flying if somebody else like judges it or
Yep.
not, because they know me and this is what I'm meant to do, this is what I was born to do, this is where I'm led. Like you, it's just that inner knowing where you're like at peace and at home, like this is where I was supposed to be or where I was supposed to come to. It's the best.
I know, and I keep going back to it, but like having that thought was after all the stuff visually online came together.
Mhm.
Because like somebody sees me in a random video, they're like, oh, cool. And they go to my website. If it's a hot mess, they're going to be like, oh, she's really a hot mess. But if I'm talking about all these different things, they go to my website, they're like, oh gosh, I know how this all comes together right off the bat from the first page. It all makes sense. And I could have, 82 different menu items and whatever else, but like that first page just sets it all up and says, here's what it is. So if you saw me on a video, it doesn't even matter what I'm talking about. Like it makes sense because it's all behind, the lens of the camera. So that, I mean, it was everything. I keep saying it, but it really was, because that's what gave me the confidence to say, I can talk about what I want now. Whereas before that, I really had to think, am I confusing people? They're saying I needed niche down. It was that constant, like almost every morning. And that was stressful because I really did want to do that, but I just didn't know how to make it all make sense.
Mhm. I agree. I second that. I saw that transformation. Okay, I have one more question.
Okay.
I just would love for you to share like why this work means so much to you, like how it adds to your purpose or, helps you feel like you're playing a role that you're meant to play. Just sharing why it means so much to you.
Right from the beginning with the oils was huge, just because I felt like I'm not the only one struggling with this. And then from there, it might have went into, my image and what I felt like myself and the inner dialogue that was going on in my head. I can't be the only one here. And the more I kept going with my own stuff, the more I was like, but wait, there's probably other people out there that are feeling the same way. And just like I might be following somebody on social media for certain reasons, I'm like, maybe I can actually make a difference. And that's something I've searched for my whole adult life with a career. I've been in these different jobs where I'm like just some random number out there in space, and it's like not really a person, just a number. And it was kind of just, it wasn't fulfilling my soul. Like I just felt like I'm here for a reason. And if I have all these feelings and these thoughts and these experiences and I want to share them, then I kind of feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so every time I put out a video or every time I, do an affirmations or a positive or a something, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing, because somebody out there needs to hear it. Somebody out there is watching, whether they comment on it, whether I get all this, all the statistics show up, somebody's watching it out there and it's making a difference. And just knowing that, again, every morning I wake up and I'm just like, how exciting and how blessed am I that I get to do that. And it just is this heartwarming feeling that I'm making a difference. From my house, being my stay-at-home mom in this little bubble I'm in, I'm still out there in a huge way. And for me, that's just like amazing. Not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that. They can be out there working in the world and doing things, but like I can be in my house. I can be with, doing all the mom things, but I can still, I know we talked before about when you become a mom and how you can feel like you lose yourself. And so I don't know if I really knew who I was before I was a mom either. But then I became a mom and it was just like all about them. You know, they had the health issues and things too. So it kind of made it more amplified, but it really just lost me. I was like, once I finally started doing this kind of stuff, I felt like, wait, I'm still here. Like I actually maybe never found myself and now I'm finding myself and I can share that because I'm supposed to, you know, like when it feels right. Every time I was like, oh, this isn't it. I guess it's not working. Oh, I should just quit. I would find myself right back in, almost like I couldn't help it, like a magnet. And it's like, no. And so again, it's like, well, wait, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. Like it just feels correct. So all of that put together has just been all the ups and downs are totally what make it rewarding each day when I'm putting things out and I just know that it's having a positive impact out there. So yeah, it just feels good.
I don't even know I can follow that up. That was like the most beautiful, the most beautiful thing. And like this is exactly why like I feel blessed and getting to do my work too. Like Katie said, we've had a lot of conversations about motherhood, and the different impacts that it has on us, and how entrepreneurship is really a journey of finding yourself. And in doing that, like you do realize how much more interconnected we are as humans than what you may think, right? Like
Mhm.
I truly believe, because I've seen this over and over and over again in so many entrepreneur stories, where it's not just the business, it is something they were called to. And through being called to that, like they are finding, seeking, gaining, healing, connection with others. And they are excited to wake up every day. And like they're getting to feel like I belong here. Like I was meant to be here. I was like, that is the most beautiful thing. And thank you so much, Katie, for sharing like all these inches and pieces of your soul. Like it means the world to me, like not just to be your friend and like get to be on this journey with you, but also that you're brave enough to like share this stuff, because not everybody is. And I just want you to know like how much I appreciate it. And I know what an impact even just this video and your story is going to make to so many
Oh,
people.
thank you. I obviously appreciate you so much and our friendship and everything we have going on. So love you.
I love you. Okay, on that
Okay.
note, we'll wrap up our video.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.